The Rabbit Bestball tournament is officially live and open. I am joined by my colleague Wyatt, and we're going to talk about some risers, some fallers in ADP, and our favorite picks, and do an actual full live draft right here for you guys on the FastDraft channel. Welcome in, folks. You know the drill. Myself and Wyatt are going to draft the Rabbit draft. Wyatt, I'm going to give you the cue because I'm going to enter the tournament now. So that way we both can get in there. And hopefully, it doesn't take, probably take a couple, maybe a minute or two before it gets filled. We have a lot of stuff that we can talk about in the meantime before the draft gets filled. So before we get into the draft, we're going to talk a little bit about Rabbit and what it is. So if you're not familiar, the Rabbit is it's a 10-team draft, 20-second timer. It's full season total PPR. It is third round reversal, which I think is really neat. These drafts take anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. They're faster than your traditional drafts. You get 150 max entries, and it is 15 rounds. I typically, in my structure, and we'll talk about structure as we're drafting these teams, Wyatt, but I typically like to go just two quarterbacks, two tight ends. That's usually been my strategy. I don't think that there's this is what you have to do, but that's what I like to do because the rosters are not as big as other tournaments sometimes. So that's just kind of what I prefer. Do you have a strategy? Do you normally go to quarterback, to tight end, or does it just matter? Is it just kind of a feel for how the draft is going?
I'm usually almost always actually two QB, two tight end. It being only 10 teams, 15 rounds, you're never really hurting for QB to the point, or tight end to the point where you feel like you should be drafting three. I mean, there's obviously some circumstances where you end up fading the position just because the way the draft board falls, and you decide, I like my last three picks are all going to be tight ends or something. But for the most part, it is 2 and 2. I think the really interesting thing for me, and what things that I consider more for FastDraft is, and this is something I love about FastDraft, because there's always like this little wrinkle in FastDraft compared to other places, is 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex. That opens up a lot of different paths while you're drafting. And it makes it so that you can even more so let the draft come to you and go best player available and not really focus on position necessarily as the draft is going along. And you can kind of just pick in your spots on different positions. I don't really worry about being weak at running back or wide receiver too much when I'm only starting 2 of them. And that's all I have to start, on other like sites like Underdog, 3 wide receivers, it puts this emphasis on wide receiver where they get pushed up to a point where it's this tough game where you're like, I have to have wide receivers, but they're not worth this pick compared to the running backs that are going next to them. So there's always a breaking point in the draft because of it, where on FastDraft, you can kind of just do whatever you think is the best. Like you can literally just take the best player available.
Yeah, and I like that strategy. And I think you kind of said what I kind of like to do is drafting, like the fact that there's 10 teams. And normally, look, I don't shame, but I don't play in any leagues that are under 10 teams, under 12 teams. Like usually it's 12 teams, sometimes 14, sometimes higher. But in this tournament, it's a lot more fun playing with 10 teams. I never thought I would like or enjoy it because to me, I'm always like, yeah, everybody's team is stacked and this and that. But when you're in a tournament style, it's a little bit different, and it makes it a little more palatable to go into when you're competing against a lot of people versus just a 10-team league, even though your pods or your draft is with 10 people. But I also think your point is valid. And, when you have 10 teams, you don't need, there's more talent out there. I mean, you're going to see there are players that don't get drafted or are very rarely drafted. I talked about him on my recent video. Alvin Kamara, I mean, right now he's 150.50. That really means that he is currently a player that's pretty much going undrafted. It's a 15-round draft. He's going at 150. That means he's literally going at the last pick or later. He's drafted in 10% of drafts. Now, when I dropped my video last week, he was 7% drafted. Now he's 10%. So he's
moving the market.
Yeah, moving the market. But he's moving up a little bit. But there are some interesting players. Like, I like Mike Washington Jr., the rookie. He doesn't get drafted. 5% of drafts he goes. Jalen McMillan, that's an interesting player. I'm not in love with Jalen McMillan, but he goes, I mean, he's been drafted 0 times so far. Sean Tucker, very interesting as well. We're assuming Rashad White is not going to be in Tampa. Tucker earned a role as kind of a goal line early down back wide. I mean, he doesn't get drafted either. You're talking about a premium handcuff, or no, I wouldn't say premium because he's not that big of a receiving back.
I mean, he could be a premium handcuff. We don't know what exactly it looks like if Bucky Irving gets hurt without Rashad White there for Sean Tucker.
And we saw him put up some big points in some games where Bucky was down and he was splitting with Rashad White too.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting player. Jerry Jeudy right now, 5% drafted. There's a lot of value right now. And this is why we like to draft early, because the ADP is kind of all over the place.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting wrinkles when it's only 150 players are getting drafted, is you get to the end of the draft and you start to have to assess, like, is it better to scroll down a little bit and find the unique play for the tournament? The players are getting drafted less. Do you think you can find the ones that are really going to outplay their draft position, and you can really, find a real boon for your lineup that a lot of their teams don't have? The other wrinkle I wanted to talk about too before the draft starts is this is a total points format. This is not a tournament where we cut down at a certain point. This is just total points throughout the entire season, and that can really change the dynamic of certain players. Like, we draft, some players specifically for their end of season production, and in a tournament like this, that's not as important. It's important. Like, we want players to score points, right? But when a player, is hurt to start the season, that means so much more here than it does on a place like Underdog, where you can live with them not giving you as much in the early season as long as they're playing at the end of the season.
Yep.
But in FastDraft, that can just crush you, especially because it is a smaller roster. You have less spots to make it up. Yeah,
well, and that's kind of like the Rashee Rice argument that we've seen, where if you think your team is, it's been like this way for the last 2 years with Rashee Rice. If you think your team is good enough, you can kind of survive early on, especially given his cost in other formats. Where FastDraft, like you said, if you're missing him for a couple of games, I mean, that can be detrimental. But his cost also becomes cheaper. I mean, there were times Rashee Rice was getting picked at like pick 75, I remember last year, which was in the 7th round. And we do have one more spot to fill, by the way.
I'm going to jump in to fill it.
What do you say?
I'm going to jump in to fill it. Make sure we get going.
Oh, perfect. I thought you were going to be in it already. What do you mean?
I was waiting to let everybody else get in and we could just draft a team together, but let's get this draft going. Give the people what they want.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here. Let me make sure it looks good and clear. You tell me what you think. I want to make sure I have the players available on the right side. So it's easy to see. Is that big enough, you think?
Yeah, that looks good.
If I go a little tighter, you don't see my top 5, but I think this still looks fine. Oh, shoot, I'm up. All right. Let's see.
Okay. You got going without me, so we're good. We're Gucci.
You didn't get in?
Yeah, but it's all good.
Again? All right, well, I'm going to go Gibbs to start then. We'll draft the team together.
Yeah.
We'll draft the team together here. So I like guys like Gibbs. I like guys like Puka. Honestly, the really nice thing about all these top players outside of Jamar Chase is their quarterbacks in a stack are not going to be expensive. Stafford, Sam Darnold, and CeeDee Lamb. Yeah. I mean, you also talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, you talk about all those quarterbacks are not inside the top 10 right now in ADP.
Yeah, all palatable costs.
Yeah, all those guys are nice because you can stack them pretty decently later on.
Yeah, I dig that. And I honestly, I think I like taking Gibbs over an elite wide receiver at the front of the draft because I think the gap between the top there for running back, it really drops off after this to me.
It does.
So
I mean, because you
I
start
dig that.
taking a lot of you start kind of taking some chances with the running back position, right? Where it's like Saquon Barkley. I talked about him the other day, but I mean, he's going pick 18. I don't even know if I love him at that cost. I don't want
Yeah,
Saquon at
I
that
was
cost.
hoping there'd be more of a discount. I was hoping we'd get the he's inefficient again or something like, and see him drop back down so I could get back in. But like that's enough of a price where it's like it's probably it's probably an appropriate price. I don't want to pay an appropriate price. I want the discount.
Yeah, I mean, how do you sit there, and take Saquon when you have guys like, to me, you have Brees Hall, Josh Jacobs, who are 13 picks cheaper. You also have Travis Etienne, who is much cheaper. Kyron Williams is 20 picks cheaper. I'm even in love with Kyron, but he's picked 37.
Yeah.
The cost, like I think you said it best, that you were hoping and thinking you'd get a discount, and we just haven't seen it.
See, we might have a tough decision here coming up because Malik Neighbors, if he doesn't go, but it sounds like he might not start the season.
Yeah, there are rumblings. I mean, would you prefer a guy like Pickens? We could possibly stack with Dak. We know he's healthy. I think he goes back to Dallas, or do you want to take a chance on Neighbors, possibly missing a couple games to start?
If it's me, I'm probably still just taking one of these running backs.
Oh, okay. Well, I panicked and we were running out of time, and I took Pickens.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with Pickens here. It's mostly just, again, like the drop off that I see at running back gets so devastating that like we're getting one from what I think is the second tier, because honestly after Bijan and Gibbs, I think a lot of these players are really similar.
Yep.
So getting another running back like Chase Brown or Saquon Barkley, I mean, like I said, I want the discount on Saquon, but I'm saying that this is a fair price for him as well. Just kind of like locking those up does entice me. The wide receivers that like come back at this area, I think are fairly good too. Like sometimes like Nico Collins is here, which I think is pretty cheap for Nico Collins. Chris Olave could, Nico obviously went early in this round. Chris Olave goes right before us. But
so we're here now, right? We got Bucky Irving, Brees Hall as some options, Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams. Wide receivers, you got T. Higgins, Rashee Rice, AJ Brown.
This is Brees Hall for me. I think he's the best player available, and I want to play into what if he gets to the Chiefs? What if he gets to the Cowboys? Something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with taking Brees there. I honestly think he's going to get tagged and stay, which is going to be painful. Yeah.
Me and Andrew Cooper talked about that this week on press coverage, and it's like they could just be like, we need as much talent as we get. We just got to tag him, but they don't need it.
Hold that thought. So you have a guy like Colson Loveland on the board here. It's probably a reach to take him there. Still a lot of talent at tight end. There's some good running backs still available. I still don't even mind still dipping in, but I think T. Higgins was a good price here. So I went with Higgins. You got Pickens, you got Higgins, you got Hall, and you got Gibbs. You figure you get the possibility to stack the Lions or the Cowboys with Pickens. You could always go and grab Dalton Schultz and Laporta later on with those quarterbacks. Laporta is a tight end whose price, I mean, he's at 79. It's the cheapest it's been since his rookie year was over. So the last 2 years, I mean, he's going behind Tucker Kraft, Kyle Pitts, Harold Fannin Jr., Tyler Warren, Colson Loveland. So I end up going there. But let's talk strategy here. The one thing about these drafts is they go so fast.
Lives up to its name.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to sometimes to kind of plan ahead. But with what you see on the board so far, right? So we have 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs. I'd like to probably hit running back next. What are your thoughts though? Because running back really drops off after, in my opinion, like once we get past Travis Etienne, maybe Scatterboo. I don't.
Yeah, definitely a drop off.
Yeah, Harvey, Swift, Javante. I mean, it becomes no man's land. So I feel like you kind of want to probably get another one, and maybe that's the case that you make to say, hey, maybe you should start off 3 running backs, 1 wide receiver, because the receiver position is still pretty good. You got Zay Flowers, who was wide
Yeah,
receiver last year,
we
actually.
got the rookies coming up.
You got the rookies coming up. So what do you think here? I mean, Scatterbu goes off the board. You got Swift, you got Harvey. I mean, a lot of these guys are wild cards to me. I think we probably hold off on the running backs here because I just don't. I don't see anybody that's.
I don't love either at this cost personally either. So I mean, I
Okay.
would probably be taking our favorite rookie wide receiver or
Okay.
Emeka Ibuka, but Emeka Ibuka I'm a little bit worried about, if I'm being honest.
Okay. So why don't we go with Carnell Tate, who is there and available? So then we end up with Pickens, Higgins, Carnell Tate. Pickens, Higgins.
Looking at the way this has fallen, I actually really like the Pickens pick at 2 in the second round because Brees Hall, I think, is not that far behind like the running back we would have taken there,
Yep.
and we still ending up with Higgins and Tate here.
Well, and that was with the reversal too. I mean, that was on the other side of the reversal, and Hall still came back to us. So that wasn't too bad. A lot of the same running backs are kind of still there.
They're a little bit more palatable now. Burrow's a thought, but I'm probably taking Mekhi Lemon.
Oh, is he there? I didn't see that. Oh no! Woo.
Nimble fingers, get it in there.
Yeah, that was a little sketchy. Yeah, I mean, because the thing is with Burrow, I mean, we've got 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, we could still take Dak.
We could still take Dak, Jared Goff, right, and maybe go take an upside quarterback. A little riskier player. And honestly, Burrow might be available when he come back. I mean, who's got Jamar Chase in this? So Jamar Chase
would be before us, yeah. So we'll have first shot at Chase or first shot at Burrow if we want to stack. But I mean, someone could take Burrow anyways. But
yeah, somebody could take him naked.
If they do, that's fine. We just move on to the next one.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Colston Loveland? This guy, he goes off the board at the 41st pick. He is, if you're looking at the board here, he's the 3rd tight end off the board.
Yep. So he's tight end 3 everywhere. As the season was ending, I was thinking I'm gonna be way in on Colston Loveland. Like I liked him more than Tyler Warren coming into the draft.
Yep.
I thought the landing spot wasn't ideal, but watching him transcend through it, I was like, yep, okay. I knew this dude was good. Love to see it. He's my tight end 3 in Dynasty. Might be my tight end 3 for 2026. And then we got 0 discount. Like everybody agreed that he was tight end 3, and now he's being drafted in like the 4th round. It's like, I didn't want to have to pay that price for Colston Loveland because it's not as simple as he's really good. Like the end of season is going to continue. Luther Burden's still there. It's going to be hard to get off DJ Moore. Roma Dunze still there. So I'm honestly just not in at this price.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. Tight end has always been a position for me that I've tried to find value in as much as possible. I mean, you look at Dallas Goedert, who was, I think, tight end 5 or 6 last year on a points per game basis. And my dog just is dreaming on my couch. I don't know if you can hear it through the mic.
But Joe Burrow's sitting there if we want to lock that up. I mean,
yeah, I had him queued. The fact that he came back to us is pretty nice. We got him 10 spots past ADP, and Hurts, Daniels, Caleb all went before him. He ended up being the quarterback 1, 2, 3.
In tournaments, that ADP should kind of naturally settle to where we drafted him because of the people draft Higgins and draft Chase, are the only ones who are looking to draft him.
So, I think and that's a valid point. Let's take a look here really quick. Running back, Quinshon Judkins sticks out like a sore thumb for me. I think he's going to be available. He'd be our RB3. It's Hubbard. It's Pollard. It starts to kind of fall off here.
Do you not like Warren? I think Warren is fine. Tyler Warren?
Tyler. Tyler's fine. I like Tyler. I just take a look at the running backs. I'm going to read it off because
after this, it's Pollard's the next name. That's all you have to do.
It's Pollard, it's Hubbard, it's Corum, it's Rico, it's Woody. Yeah, I honestly think
falls off a cliff.
I think a lot of these. I mean, Emmett Johnson, Jonah Coleman, Jardarian Price. You can make an argument that they should all be ahead of Woody, Rico, Blake Corum, Tootin, and Monungai, in my honest opinion.
Sure.
I mean, we don't know the landing spot, so it always makes it tougher. But especially Emmett Johnson for me, I think we talked about him as both of our RB2. I mean, he's going to come in my opinion, and have a receiving role probably no matter where he goes. I mean, knock on wood. So, and by the way, one cool thing too, you can see here to the right side, this my top 3 is updating as we're drafting because it's the top 3 of who's available still on the board, which I didn't know. So it's taking my rankings and it is spitting out as players get drafted, they pick a guy off. My top guys are adjusting as we're drafting live, which is kind of neat. I didn't see that.
So coming up here, if Tucker Kraft is still available, I'm probably going to fight for him.
Yep. That was kind of who I was looking at. The only other thing you could maybe make the case for is if we were going to try to go back to Dak, you could go Jake Ferguson, but that would be a little high.
There goes Kraft. Okay. We can get Dak on the swing back if we still want that. So I would say that we'd go another direction.
Okay. So
I kind of like Tootin. Betting on Etienne leaving, and if he doesn't leave, he's still a useful piece.
Yep. Yeah, there's going to be – I look at the Jags offense similar to Denver with Sean Payton. There's going to be a lot of points for the running back position, even if there's a split.
Right. I agree.
And then we could try to swing for Dak on the way back here. I mean, to stack Pickens, Dak, Burrow, and Higgins would be really, really pretty solid.
Yeah, to shore that up.
We'd have no reason to draft quarterback again. Tight end is obviously going to be a sore spot. I don't think anyone's going to reach on Jake Ferguson. I mean, if we just wanted to get the stack,
we could probably just have it.
Yeah, like not someone that like I'm like, oh yes, we got Jake Ferguson, but same time, I mean, I don't hate going that direction because it's PPR. He does catch a lot of passes. He might not have a ton of yards, but he gets volume that way. And then you get the stack, obviously. So let's take a look at the team. And the viewers can't see our team right this second full. You can kind of see it here, but I'm going to read through it really quick, Wyatt. You start taking a look at who you think we should take next. Joe Burrow and Dak, we talked about it. We got them stacked at Pickens and T. Higgins. Running back, we took Jahmyr Gibbs at the first overall pick, our first pick. We have Gibbs, Breece Hall, Quinshon Judkins, Bashaw Tootin. Our wide receiver room is stacked with high ceiling, good floor, and then we have some risky, rookies, right? So we have Pickens and Higgins. Those are 2 guys that I could see a world where if you're talking about a wide receiver 2 on a team, those are the guys you want. And both those guys, if healthy, and if the offenses look similar to last year, both guys should be top 15 players. And then you have Carnell Tate and Mekhi Lemon. We take both rookies. There's a chance that both of those guys don't produce much their rookie seasons, but we can afford to do that when you have 2 guys that are going to have really, really high floors in Pickens and T. Higgins.
Yeah. Thinking about our pick coming up here right now. Oh, I was getting ready to say Emmett Johnson setting up to be our pick. Of course he goes. We are at a point in the draft where it starts getting really ugly. We could take a shot on some upside with a different rookie running back, which I'm fine with. Or we take like Khalil Shakir to try and be the early season buffer for our rookies.
I took Coleman, but Shakir is a good note. So let's see if Shakir comes back to us.
We know Shakir's not the highest ceiling, but he is a useful piece when you just need somebody to be scoring, like who can actually make the lineup,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm good with going Shakir. I think that's a good pick and a good eye by you because, like you had mentioned, it gives us a floor if it takes a little bit of time for some of these rookies to kind of get going. Honestly, I like our team so far. We are in a spot though where we don't have a tight end right now. Ferguson did end up.
We talked about 2 and 2, and this might be a 3 tight end team.
Yeah. Honestly, it very well could be. I mean, let's just take a look at the options here. You have Dallas Goedert. You have George Kittle. This is the thing I want to say about Kittle. I know it sounds crazy, but at 135, almost our last pick, I did read that it didn't look as bad as they had said, and I can't remember who the guy is on Twitter, one of the injury docs, but he was saying he does not expect him to miss a ton of time next year. I know that's optimistic, but I'm sitting here thinking our tight end room stinks either way. We might not get much from the room, so it might be worth it to take a chance. But I mean,
if we're taking 3 tight ends, for sure. Well, the kill goes, so now the conversation is moot. But if we were taking 3 tight ends, I would be more open to it.
Yeah.
It's really tough because if he doesn't come back, and you can't pair him with like if a Kenyon Sadiq made it to us, like we can't pair those two together because you can't count on Sadiq to produce right away either.
Yeah.
So.
Well, now it gets tough. I mean,
yeah,
Brenton Strange, Juwan Johnson, Hunter Henry. I don't hate Hunter Henry, to be honest.
I'm always a fan of Hunter Henry.
Okay. Is he a guy that you like here out of these guys? Strange is more upside. Henry feels safe, but he also has those weeks where he can score 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I like Henry more than Strange personally.
Okay, so we'll go with Henry. Go with Hunter Henry. Are there any players that you're looking at we talked about some of these guys that don't get drafted, that are deeper plays? Is there anybody that comes to mind for you right now?
I was getting ready to say, I think we should, if we're going to be 3 tight end, which we might be here, I think we should think about Isaiah Likely. What if he's on, he could be on his way out? What if a team pays him to be their starting tight end? That could be
so. Who you want to take ahead of? You want to take Likely now and then figure it out after? Do you want to take a risk on?
Do we even have to? Do you think does every team have 2 tight ends?
I don't know. We got 10 seconds here. Let's see. There was a big tight end run last round.
I would take Sampson first. We need a 5th running back, correct?
Yes. I think we have 6 now, but I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
Okay. My bad. You're good. Am I miscounting? It's all good. But this is what makes the 2 flex great, because I at that point, to me, that's clearly the best player available. I think he can have a every week roll through the passing game, and he's a very good handcuff.
Yeah,
even on a bad team.
This is more than fine. It's more than fine. We'll end up with 2 tight ends. I'm fine with it. I prefer 2 tight ends. I don't like to press for 3. I don't know. I just sit here with all the flex spots, as you mentioned, the points per game differential from some of these tight ends. I mean, sure, you could hit lightning in a bottle, and maybe Mark Andrews has a resurgence year. Maybe Brenton Strange continues to ascend as he's looked really solid. Maybe Hawkinson finds it. But the point is, you are taking a chance on guys that probably aren't going to give you much week winning games. And I'd rather take a chance on a high-end handcuff at running back, right? Or take a chance. Like Dylan Sampson's a good call. I like Dylan Sampson there. So we'll take Isaiah Likely here if he gets to us, and he'll be our 2nd tight end. I'm good with that. Why don't you tell me, because I know Dylan Sampson's a guy that you seem to be interested in. Explain to me a little bit why you like Dylan Sampson.
One, first off, is that I just straight up think he's a good football player. Head on over to PlayerProfiler.com, check out his page. I mean, his metrics look very, very good for running backs. He's a good pass catcher, which is the most important thing probably, because this is a full PPR site. Quinshon Judkins with him is not necessarily a good pass catcher. Quinshon Judkins is one of those pass catchers where you can dump it off to him. It's fine. Like, I think most running backs, when it comes to pass catching, fall into 3 different categories. There is they don't get used in the passing game because they're bad at it. There's the really big section in the middle that's you can dump it off to these guys, they're fine. And there's this is an actual pass catcher that can be used as a weapon.
Yep.
I'm not saying Sampson is that upper tier, but I think like he's much closer to it than Judkins and can be used as such, especially on a team like the Browns who are hurting for weapons. So because of that role, I value him highly on a full PPR site. Then you bake in the fact that he's a handcuff to Quinshon Judkins. Judkins is also going to be coming off an injury. We'll see if the injury lingers into next year at all, or how much he's practicing heading into the season. But the point is just that Sampson should be a handcuff to Judkins. Anytime we can find a handcuff that also has some weekly value, that's a valuable player to have. And it's even better when it's a player who's in his second year in the league, who we know was a good prospect coming into the NFL that we can get excited about.
Yeah, I like Dylan Sampson. I think I don't love him as much for in between the tackles running back. I like him as a weapon, as a guy that maybe can be used outside the tackles, can catch the football. Yards per route run, he had 2 yards per route run. He was actually number 1 for running backs in the NFL. I just took a look. So he was definitely used effectively as a receiver out of the backfield. And we saw some good games out of him when he was called upon. I saw enough to say, yeah, this guy's interesting. And if he can get into a situation where he's used creatively, he has a chance to have some spike games, even if he's not the lead guy. And yeah, I mean, I'm not jazzed to draft Dylan Sampson in a managed league, but in a best ball PPR format, I think it's a good call, especially with Judkins. Who knows? Judkins, no ligament damage, it sounds like. So I think he's going to be just fine coming back, but who knows, right? I mean, maybe they want to ease him in. Maybe they don't want to pound him, incredibly and give him a crazy high workload, and maybe Sampson gets involved, right? So we'll see. Let's talk about the team really quick here. I want to take a look here. Are there any picks that you look at who got picked after us and say to yourself, man, I wish we could have maybe went the other way. I mean, hindsight's of course 2020. But is there anybody that sticks out to you that you say, man, that was a pretty good value that I would have liked to be in on?
Not in the beginning of the draft. Honestly, I think navigated at the beginning of the draft pretty darn well. I think it's probably not until we reach taking Dak, honestly, maybe where we say, maybe this is a spot where we should actually take a tight end and not worry about taking the second QB as early as we did. Not this was necessarily it was early, but because we have Burrow, we're not hurting at QB. That's where I think you can start to nitpick we could have done this a little bit better maybe.
Sure.
Especially because Ferguson did not come back. We thought, Ferguson will come back. Nobody wants Ferguson right now. And when he doesn't, you're like, all right, well, now this doesn't look quite as good. But you don't want to reach.
Well, the guy that took Ferguson was here in the 9 hole. Gets Herbert, he gets Ladd, so he stacked them. Gets Darnold, gets Kyler. I think he probably just panicked. Weird. I mean, you take Herbert and he takes Kincaid instead of Gadsden. Maybe Ferguson was a panic pick because he didn't get Gadsden to come back to him. That's probably what I would think maybe was in their head. But we're also assuming that the people in our room are sharp, and sometimes you don't always get the sharpest people when you're drafting. Also, one thing to note, we talked about Jared Goff. If we waited on Dak, we could have gotten Goff 2 rounds later, and stacked him with kind of Gibbs, and maybe you go take Tesla later on and kind of look at it that way. So that could have been an angle that we looked at. But overall, I think we did a good job. The only thing I would have wished is maybe we would have got a little bit of a better wide receiver towards the end. I know going for Shakir was kind of like that floor because of the rookie's risk here. But it just, it feels a little bit risky, but we talked about it. I mean, that we're willing to take that risk in tournaments like this, especially when you factor in we have Pickens and Higgins. If they're healthy, they should carry that room pretty well. And then if we get any spike weeks from those rookies, it's gravy with those 2 wide receivers in the room.
Yeah, I mean, I never feel good drafting Khalil Shakir, but I think he does have his place in best ball. Because while we're looking for upside, floor players actually have their place. There are plenty of times in which you're drafting a team in which you just have to, where 9 points per game is actually attractive, because to ensure some weekly points.
We've gotten to this point in fantasy in general where nobody wants the floor. Nobody wants to take the floor pick. And sometimes you take the floor pick. It might not be the sexiest thing. But I mean, Zay Flowers with his depth was a definition of a floor player majority of the year. He had 3 spike weeks and he played every single game this year, but he was pretty much an 11 points per game player outside of like 3 weeks this year, right? And that's the definition of a floor player. He had 3 pops. 2 of them were in the playoffs when it mattered, or I think 1 pre-playoff, but it was like the week before the playoffs. So kind of same thing where, floor players are necessary, and Shakir is a good floor player. That's at least he's in a good offense. So, but that's going to do it for us. First rabbit in the books here on FastDraft. If you are not already signed up with FastDraft, you can use Wyatt's code over on FastDraft to get a deposit match. Wyatt, is your code name just Wyatt?
It sure is. Code Wyatt.
Code Wyatt. WYATT. In case you're not very good at spelling like myself, I'm going to spell it out for you, especially if you're on the audio side and can't see it here visually. But we do appreciate everybody that's tuning in. We're going to get more of these as we go on through the season. If there's any content that you might want or request or have questions about the format with the draft, anything you might have, you can send in the comment section below once the videos close out. You can come message us over on Twitter as well. But for Wyatt and myself, we'll see you guys next time.